All right, everybody, welcome to the channel. If you're wondering what it's all about, my name's Tony Gibson. I'm a chef by trade, but I also like to spin some tunes, play house music, really kind of soulful vocal house music. So what I want to do on this channel is, I guess, kind of follow my journey as I try and set myself up as a working DJ. The object, I guess, of the whole thing is just to get to a point where I'm playing gigs every weekend. That's what the channel's all about. So in this first video, I'm going to go through the 6 things that I kind of did to set myself up and kind of start on this journey to becoming a DJ. It's not the only way to do it, but these are the things that I found kind of helpful, and I've kind of followed them, and they've been setting me up as I go along. So don't forget to subscribe and like the video. There's going to be a lot more. I'm also going to be doing a weekly mix, which you can also hear on my Mixcloud page, and getting you involved in a club night that we've started, so you can get to see behind the scenes of that, how we set up the events, what we have to do to get it working, and you know, all the things that go right and all the things that go wrong. There's always stuff that goes wrong. Okay, so let's just get in this first video. The first thing I'm going to start with, which I found very interesting, and it's a good place to start. You need to know what your vision is. Also, I guess, what your inspiration is to want to be a DJ. There's loads of different styles of DJs out there, loads of different genres. House music, heavy house, hard house, disco, drum and bass, all sorts. But I think it's important that you decide as early on as you can what sort of DJ you want to be. When I first started, I liked all sorts of music. So I was trying to get as much music as I could from everything. You know, I thought, oh, I'm going to do a mix that's a bit more disco-y. And then the next week I'm going to do a mix that's a bit more techy. And I just ended up getting loads and loads of music and not really much time to play it. And I wasn't really focusing on any one thing. So what I did was I just kind of stopped and looked at the DJs that I liked, and that inspired me. You know, I'm really inspired by people like Louis Vega, Melvo Baptiste, Dave Lee. Musically, that's the sort of music that I like. And then, you know, there's a lot of new DJs like Follow. I think he's doing some really cool stuff. I love the music he plays. And then on the other side, there's other people who inspire me, like the likes of James Hype. Not my type of music at all, but what I like about what James Hype does, he's where DJs are, and in this time, that's what you need to aspire to be, I feel like, to really work this industry, with his live feeds, you know, moving differently, where they follow each other around doing all the shows. It's really cool and it's really inspiring. And he's just a beast behind the decks. As I say, not my type of music, but you can always learn things, you know, different transitions, different way he does stuff. So I'm inspired by that as well, you know. I like his control of the machinery and the tech. He's really, really good at it. And his social media is just the best. I reckon he's got to be doing the best in the DJ world. So that's what I did first. I sat down. Who inspires me? What sort of music do I really like to listen to? What do I like to dance to when I'm out? And I kind of honed in to what I wanted to be. Okay, so the second thing, I guess, is you really need to start from the very beginning. Don't try and run before you can walk. You know, I started DJing just before COVID. I didn't really know what I wanted for my birthday. And my wife asked me what I wanted for my birthday. And I said, oh, you know, I wouldn't mind a set of record decks. I haven't had any since I got to Australia. Back in the late 2000s, I lived in London. I lived with 3 guys who were all DJs. I kind of got into it. I'd always been into music. And then when I moved to Australia, pretty much sold everything because I didn't want to bring it. And then I don't know, for some reason, I never really got back into it when I got back into Australia. So anyway, I said I wanted the decks. My wife got me a little Pioneer SDJ SX3 or something, tiny little one. Got a pair of Rocket speakers, and then, you know, that was it. I was in. Didn't have any music. I got rid of all my CDs. But I thought, oh, I'll just get everything back digitally now. I thought that I would be able to do that. Anyway, that was it, you know. I got my little first Pioneer, and then about 3 months later I upgraded to a DDJ 1000, bit of a bigger unit, a bit more capability. Had that for about another 3 months, and then I upgraded again to XDJ XZ, which is what I'm using now. I've since added DDJ 3000 to it, so I've got 3 decks, and that's working quite well for me at the minute. I can pretty much do anything I want on there, and that's really how I started. If I could give you any tips out, and a friend of mine did say this to me, get the best equipment you can get in the beginning, because once you get hooked, you just find that it becomes really quickly, it becomes not enough. And the more you get into it, and you know, the more, if you want to play out, you need to have equipment that you can, that's going to be similar to what you're going to play on in the clubs. And whether it's right or not, you know, 95% of the clubs, it's Pioneer gear. So just get the best you can as early as you can, and just start to master that bit of equipment. Practice as much as you can, and that's what I did, you know. So I guess that kind of brings me nicely. After I had my equipment, and like I say, in the beginning, I just tried to get as much music as I could because I didn't have any. So I joined a record pool. I'm signed up to Zip DJ. There's loads of them out there. DJ City. There's probably a dozen. Zip DJ is quite good. It's better for American track. I still buy a lot of stuff off Beatport. I see if I can get new records on Zip first, if they haven't got them, and then I go to Beatport and see if I can get them on there. But as I said in the beginning, I was just downloading everything. You know, I'd click on an artist, and he might have 300 or 400 tunes. I'd just download them all without listening to them. And I thought that was a good thing to do, but as I'll explain later on, when you come to playing out and you've got to put a set together, it takes forever if you've got to go through 16,000 tracks that you probably never play 10,000 of them. I'm in a process at the minute of just trimming back what music I actually have to stuff that I know I'm going to play. I'm going to do another video about that, about finding music and how I sort it out and how I've got all my crates and things set up, but that's another video. But as I said, what I did after I decided the type of DJ that I wanted to be and I was inspired by, and the music that I liked, then it became easier to get the right type of music into my collection. My inspiration, as I said, I'm a soul boy from the olden days. I love Luther Vandross, Frankie Beverly, Mays, Bobby Womack, and you know, Chaka Khan, all those good vocalists. And that's the type of house music that I like to play. I love vocal house, I love soulful house, and they're the type of things that I decided that I was going to play. So find your style. What you like to listen to isn't always what you're going to play, and I think that's a thing you've got to make a difference between. And maybe it's good to have your listening stuff on a separate disc to what you've got your DJing stuff on, because what I listen to, I probably would never DJ, but what I listen to has inspired what I DJ. So remember, they're not the same thing. Choose what you want to DJ with, and then that's the type of music that you start to find. A way that helped me to focus in on what the style of DJ that I wanted to be, I read somewhere that you should be able to, if somebody says to you, what type of DJ are you, you should be able to explain it in one sentence. If you can't, you're going to lose them, and it probably means you don't really know. So you'll see on my branding and on all my merch, I came up with this sentence to answer that question. If somebody said, what type of DJ am I and what do I like to play? I like to play soulful, uplifting, funky disco house. That's it. You know, it's 5 separate things, but it kind of gives you an idea of what it's going to be like if you come and listen to me. It's going to be fun, it's going to be dancey, there's going to be a lot of vocals, and it's going to be pretty high tempo. Once I got that little sentence, it became very easy to then look for music to put in my collection that I'm going to DJ with. And that's actually also how I set up my crates in my record box. I've got a soulful crate, I've got an uplifting crate, I've got a funky crate, I've got a disco crate, and I've got a house crate. And then that's the type, and I put my music in there and I know what's in those crates and what it's going to play. So get yourself a sentence, and then once you've got that, it makes everything else much easier. You know what music to look for, you know what genres you're trying to get, you know what gigs you're looking for, and you know what you can offer people who like that type of music. You don't have to worry too much about when you get music, what they say that is. They might say that's soulful house, but to you, it might go in your uplifting or vocal. It doesn't really matter what other people call it. Your collection and how you sort it out needs to work for you. So I reword some things. I set up my smart crates so that all the different types that other people call it go into my crate, into my soulful crate, for instance, and I know what type of music's going to be in that, and that's really important. Don't worry about what other people do. It has to make sense to you. And as I say, what I've done, I've got those 5 headings in my sentence. They're pretty much how I group my record box collection into those 5 different groups. But again, that's another video about how I do that. So the next thing is, once you know what sort of music, you need to find your niche. It's all about the music. Once you know what music you're going to play, you've kind of found your niche. People who just like soulful house, there's people who just like hard house, there's people who just like new disco, and some of them cross over, you know, soulful house, new disco, very similar. Funky house, you know. So just find the music you like, find your niche, and then that also again makes it easier to you know who you're going to target when you're going to do your social, when you're promoting your events, when you're looking for events, when you're looking for places you want to potentially play at. Once you know your niche, it makes everything easier. And again, you resort back to your sentence. Your sentence will tell you what your niche is. It's not another thing. Look at your sentence. That's what you are. That's going to have your niche in there. And then start building your collection around that type of music. There's loads of little subgenres as well, which you can, you know, soulful house, is it gospel house, is it vocal house? Are they all the same thing? There's a lot of little things you can tweak, and you know, and one week you might do a soulful house mix, next week you might do a gospel house mix. So make your sentence, find your niche, focus on that type of music, and make sure when you download, if you're downloading, if you're going to buy music or you're going to download it, just look at it. Does that fit into my sentence of what I am? Does it fit into my music that I'm going to play? And if you don't think you'll ever play it, there's not really any point in downloading it, because all you've got to do is sort through it when you're trying to make a playlist for an event or a mix. Pain in the arse, don't do it. Okay, so you found your niche, you know what music you're going to do. The next thing you need to do, and it's so important nowadays, is you've got to start building an online presence. And this is where people like James Hype become very inspirational, and they give you a lot of ideas. When you first start, like me now, I haven't done many gigs. I'm not doing gigs every weekend yet. We put our own parties on so we can play, but you need to put yourself out there in the meantime with your social media. I've got, you know, like everybody, Facebook, Instagram. I've got a Mixcloud page. I'm just starting this YouTube channel. It's all just going to help me get more gigs. The more people know about you, the more following you've got, the more you've got to offer to a promoter when you go and ask if you can play at their gig. While you're not playing out, start building your fan base online by doing weekly posts, by doing interesting things daily. I also, as you can see, I've got a range of t-shirts which I started during COVID just because I had nothing else to do. So I kind of cross that over a bit. I like to promote one of my t-shirts once a week, then I'll put a mix up once a week, and then I'll do my top 5 tracks from the last week. Just stuff to keep interest going. Whenever we're doing a new party, we can promote that online. And you just, you know, slowly but surely you build up. The more you do it, the more people are going to listen to it, the more people are going to be exposed. And if you're doing a good job, when you put an event on, more people are going to come and see it. And it just puts you in a better position to, you know, you've got something to offer promoters. Because if you just turn up, I've just been playing in my bedroom, nobody knows me, it doesn't matter how good you are, you're not really bringing anything to the event. You need to put bums on seats, you know, bums on seats. And so, and I guess part of your online presence, and they're all connected, all the things we're talking about today, is what you're going to call yourself. And there's no rules to this. You can just be who you are, your name. You can come up with a funny name. You can come up, it doesn't matter. Once I had my sentence, it kind of gave me a few ideas of a name. And I came up with the name The Funky Gibson, which was it's a bit of tongue in cheek. Anybody who's English and around about my age will remember in the 70s there was a comedy show in England by the Goodies, and they did a song called The Funky Gibbon, with a ooh ooh ooh, the Funky Gibbon. It was kind of a joke. A friend of mine started calling me the Funky Gibson, and I just thought it was a kind of cool name. Bit of a play with the guitar, and it kind of sets a scene for what I'm doing, you know. Soulful, uplifting, funky disco house. The Funky Gibson, it kind of sits nicely, you know. So it fits in with my genre, fits in with my niche, and it fits in with the music I'm playing. So once I got that, then you know, you look to the next thing of getting some sort of branding. And there's lots of ways you can do that. If I started now, I would just do the branding myself, because I've learned how to use Canva, and I know about Placeit, and I'm a bit more handy now. But when I started in 2020, I didn't know anything about that, so I jumped on Fiverr. I enlisted a designer. I think they were in Mumbai in India, and we had a bit back and forth, and they came up with a logo for me. This was one of them, which I'm wearing now, and they came up with just a name. You'll see that on my site and on my branding, and then once you've got that, they give you all the versions of it, and you can use it on anything then. So I use that on my Facebook, on my Instagram. I've done t-shirts with it, like I'm wearing, and it's just one less thing to worry about. You've got it, and then people will start associating your music with that name, with that brand, and it just makes it better, you know. And I'm getting to the point now where we're approaching people for gigs, and they like to be sent like a digital package, and it's good to have a logo, your name, and just some branding on it, so it just gives you a bit more credibility. And it means they can also use it on their third party Instagram, Facebook, etc, etc. So you've got your name, you've got your niche, you've got what music you're playing, and you've also got your name. You're pretty much there, you know. You're in a good place to kind of put yourself out there, and that's what you should do. Start doing mixes as often as you can. Get to the gigs that you want to play at, meet the people, and just start to create an online interest in what you're doing, so that when you get to a gig, you've got all this collateral stuff that you can show people. The next thing is, which I found helped me, was, you know, when you start, you've got all these ideas. I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this. You need to just kind of write them down, sit down, just write down a few goals, and I guess aspirations that you have. Everybody's different. I've got a full-time job. I'm not looking to make this my full-time job. I just want to get to a point where every weekend I'm playing 1 or 2 gigs, and that's my drive. So whatever I have to do to get to that, that's what I'm going to do. And that's what I'm going to show you guys, and hopefully help anybody else who's kind of on a similar journey. So for me, that's the goal. The first goal, get to a point where I'm playing every weekend, at least once. Is it a Saturday, is it a Friday, is it a Sunday? I don't know. Just, you know, once a week I've got a regular gig, and that's my drive. But just write down your goals, write what you want to get out of it. And then it gives you something to kind of aim for, you know. Like, if I want to do 1 gig, how many people do I have to speak to? How many fans do I have to have? What can I offer a promoter? How many promoters are there? Who are the promoters in my area? I'm looking at all that stuff now to see what I need to do next to get that next stage of my journey. But yeah, you just, you know, look to your city, Google your genre, your niche, see what else is out there, go to the events. Do you like them? Do you want to play there? Do some networking, talk to the DJs, talk to the promoters, talk to the punters, and just get your name out there and get yourself out there, so that, you know, the more you do it, the more chance there is of getting a gig. And that's it really for the first video, guys. They're the kind of 6 things I think is, if you get on top of them, it's a good starting point, and then you just take it from there, you know. My journey was a little bit different because I started just before COVID, so nothing was really happening, but it just gave me a load of time to practice and get music. And I did all these 6 steps during COVID when I couldn't really do anything else, which is kind of good. You know, every cloud has a silver lining. And also, I kind of started a merch brand before I started gigging out, which is a bit back to front. But it's kind of cool now because if I go to a gig, I can wear my merch. People ask about it, and it's just a nice cross-pollination. I guess generally you would create a brand and then start doing your merch. I did it the other way around. That's what I did. Is it right? Is it wrong? I don't know, but it's kind of working for me. So that's what I did. So just to summarize, I guess, you know, first thing, get a vision and get inspired. You know, look at who inspires you. Look where you want to go and just see the type of story that you want to create, you know. And don't get ahead of yourself first. Just start at the beginning, you know. What sort of music do I like to listen to and dance to? What sort of music do I want to play? And what sort of DJ do I want to be? What niche do I want to fit into? So decide on that. You know, come up with your sentence that says what you are in one sentence. And that'll make the next few steps easy. Find your genre, whatever resonates with you. You know, the type of people that hang out there, the type of music, the type of crowds. Where do you want to be? Where do you want to position yourself? Get your sentence. That'll make your niche easier. That'll make the music easier, and that'll help you set up an image on social media. So you've got your branding, you've got your logo, type of music that you want to promote. So get that all together. And then lastly, write down some goals. Where do you want to go? Because if you don't know where you want to go, you're not going to get there. Where do I want to be? When do I want to get there? And how am I going to get there? That's very important in anything. But, you know, especially when you're starting out in this industry. So many people doing it. If you haven't got a clear goal and direction and something to focus on, you're just going to go around in circles and you'll never get anywhere. And it can be whatever, you know. Like I say, I want to get to a point where I'm DJing once a week. I'm not looking to make this my career, but that's what I want to, you know, that's what this channel is going to be about, my journey getting to that point. And there's lots of ways of doing that. As I said, and again, I'll do another video on this, we've started to do our own night because I didn't grow up in Sydney. The people who I DJ with at the minute, some grew up in Sydney, some didn't, but we're all a bit older. It's hard, it's quite difficult for old people like us to get gigs playing to young kids. So we've kind of skipped that bit out, and we're going to create interest in what we do by putting on our own nights. And that just gives you a bit more freedom. It means we're always going to get to play. It can be when and where we want, and we can create the atmosphere in the environment that we want. So that's going to be kind of run in conjunction with me trying to get gigs at other places. I'll take you along for the ride as we do our parties and grow them into a bit of a bigger occasion. And at the minute we're doing about 80 people, 60 to 80 people. We just want to get them a bit bigger and a bit bigger. And who knows, I might not need to go and play for anybody else, but that's a long way off. And even if our parties become very popular and they're bigger, it's still good to play other parties just to expand and expand and expand, and who knows where it'll go. So anyway, I think that's everything that I wanted to get into this first video. It's going to be fun. It's not too serious. I've literally started. I don't know anything about the industry. I know I like to play music. I think I know a good tune. I practice a lot. I'm not, and you know, but it's a journey for me. I'm not there yet. I'm on the journey. So come along with me. We'll have a laugh. Any ideas, any comments on what I've said today, if you found it useful, what you'd like me to talk about in the future. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, because I'll be putting mixes on every week. I've always got promotions on with merch and our parties. So yeah, nice to see you all. See you in the next video. In the meantime, have fun. I hope it's been useful for you, and I'll see you at the next one. Peace out.